UEFA dropped proposals to impose strict penalties on clubs that breach financial fair play rules. Following Man City's announcement of a £195 million loss, the European governing body has dropped plans to impose penalties on clubs who breach the new terms. From 23rd of November 2011, from Goal.com, UEFA has decided to shelve proposals to impose a transfer ban on clubs that breach its financial fair play rules on the grounds that its planned penalties will be legally unenforceable. Let me carry on. The European governing body confirmed on Tuesday that plans to impose a transfer embargo have been dropped despite the support of leading clubs because they believe they would be unable to enforce such rules. Arsenal and Inter Milan were among the clubs who supported the proposal, which gained momentum in Europe after it was announced that Man City recorded the £195 million loss last season. Financial fair play rules require clubs to lose no more than £38 million over the next 3 seasons in an attempt designed to crack down on debt-laden clubs such as Man City, who are unlikely to meet such regulations. But UEFA have revealed that control over player registrations lies with national associations and FIFA, but not themselves, and have therefore decided to drop the proposals. The European governing body had initially intended to impose a credible series of penalties, just shy of expelling teams from European competition altogether, but now intends on scaling down penalties for breaching the rules, with many of the proposed sanctions believed to be legally fraught. Lawyers advise UEFA officials that their plans to ban individual players from competition because their signings contributed to the club's spending could be open to restraint of trade lawsuits from the players, who could argue they only joined the club with the intention of European football. First and foremost, there's a few things wrong with this. Last week, I said that UEFA dropped the ball majorly and was stupid idiots for saying, oh no, we're going to allow clubs flexibility and we're not looking to throw anyone out if they breach the rules. That was UEFA, Platini, that was your first Mong move. Secondly, your next Mong move is a case of their plans to ban individual players from competition because their signings contributed to the club's spending could be restraint of trade, could result in restraint of trade lawsuits. You didn't think of this before you looked into the rules, before you started waxing lyrical? Come on, UEFA, seriously. You didn't look into all of this before you thought about the rules? Do you not think things through? Because as soon as Man City announced their losses of 195 million, straight away you came out and backtracked and said, no, we're not looking to expel people from our club. And now, do you know who has to be laughing at this, Gezzie?
Who?
The chairman of Sean, who has been very, very vocal because if you think about it, potentially he could say, oh, all right, so clubs can breach rules and get away with it and not be expelled and not be expelled from European competition. So in that case, you can let my club back in because we breached rules. We breached rules, and at the end of the day, like you got to let us off scot-free if they're breaching rules too. And I've always said my fears about financial fair play is that it's not going to be enforced. It looks like now it's not going to be enforced at all. Yep. And it's stupid. It's stupid. At the end of the day, I think I said last week or the week before on our show, and pick up the podcast on iTunes or Podomatic, as Gezzie Fizzle mentioned earlier, if you haven't heard it. It's a case of if there were no repercussions to reckless spending and breaking rules, why are people going to abide by rules? Most people, and well, unless you watch the Boondocks, most people don't fall foul of the laws in England because they don't want to be arrested and they don't want to go to jail. Some don't want to go to jail because they don't want to be anally raped and they've got a chronic fear of that, a la the Boondocks, which is why I mentioned that. But most people are on the straight and narrow, partially because they're honest people, and secondly, because there are serious repercussions to going to jail. You'll find it hard to find a job afterwards if you're an ex-con. So, in footballing terms, if if teams are not held accountable for their actions, why should they rein in? Why should they keep a leash on what they do? Why should they regulate what they do? If the governing body has already come out and said, "Oh yeah, we can't really enforce it." That's what I don't get.
Well, this is the thing. Now, this is the thing I'm going to say about this. This is actually the kiss of death. This is the death blow. This is the heart punch. This is the last bit of possible action that they could have ever possibly have been in regards to financial fair play. Financial fair play is now dead in the water. Financial fair play is over with. There cannot be any such thing, because now what they've basically said is, we're not going to penalise anybody. There's not going to be any penalties. There's nothing that we can actually do because we're afraid of, we're going to get taken to court. So all that's going to happen is this big trend of, rich gazillionaires coming in, buying clubs and saying, right, okay, you know what? In order for us to be competitive, we need to buy all the best players in the world. We need to spend ridiculous amounts of billions of pounds. Right? That's just going to continue, and the game of football is just going to implode on itself.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Financial fair play cannot work with these rules.
Yeah,
financial fair play will not work with these rules. And as I said, financial fair play has been dealt a serious blow that it cannot come back from.